Check out favorites.com and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. Coach, appreciate your time as always. Congratulations, a sweep, first SEC sweep of the season. I'm curious, from where I sat and watched, I thought maybe this was the weekend where your team played well for 3 solid games and just kind of did everything the way they were supposed to. Was that an observation you had, or am I kind of off base on that?
No, I think you're right on. And when you're not having success, and let's face it, the biggest thing is when you're not winning games. There's a lot of questions. We've tried to answer from you, over the last few weeks. And I know it sounds like coaches speak, but when you say, hey, we're not playing well enough, we're not making enough pitches, we're not having enough, good, tough at bats, we're not making enough plays. That's what we're talking about, is playing well enough. And one of the things that I guess kind of kept us in check was, hey, we've done this before, and not just last year, but, this year. And we've done it against good teams, and we've done it, in certain weekends. We just haven't done it consistently enough. And I think you're exactly right, Richard. I think we played, well for 3 games in a row and obviously had some good results.
So you pick at me sometimes about, that's what you radio guys talk about, and I give you a hard time about coach speak sometime, but I'm going to tee up a coach speak. Is this – are you with where you are in this season right now in the ultimate one game at a time, that's all that matters in terms of what you're trying to build to get to the postseason?
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is, that's where you always should be, because, you can't control what happened yesterday. You certainly can't control what's going to happen tomorrow. All you can control is what's happening right now. And it sounds so, coach speak, it sounds so mundane, but it's the truth, because especially this time of year, regardless, especially in our situation, but I think particular to this point in the season, everybody's, kind of, now you can kind of see the finish line, right? Now the finish line's not too far away, and everybody can look at that, get distracted, start to scoreboard watch, and the truth of the matter is, we can't control any of that. Let's just play this game and play as well as we can this game, and let that take care of itself. But certainly that's the message and the hope for the rest of the way.
I got to be honest with you. It didn't look great 51 pitches into the top of the first inning on Friday night, but I'm wondering if maybe what Dylan DeLucia did to kind of gut through that and get you 4 innings is almost as impressive as some of these outings where he's gone 7, 8, or even had a complete game.
No, you're exactly right. Immediately after the game, the Friday night fireworks are going off, and so we have to wait a little bit to talk to the team. And Mike Clement turned to me, our hitting coach, and he said, hey, maybe the biggest pitch of the night was, the strikeout, whatever, 51 or 48th pitch in the first inning by DeLucia with the bases loaded, to get off the field with just 2 runs and, to keep the game in check. And then put up, 3 zeros and give us a chance, give the offense a chance. And Hunter did something similar, in the first inning on Sunday. But, those are what you're talking about. The pitches that you're talking about. It's not always, getting off with no runs, but it's not letting it blow up on you. Or, we started getting Mason Nichols warmed up in that first inning. So, gosh, what a difference that makes is, if we have to bring Mason in the first inning on Friday night.
So Hunter Elliott has kind of feels like he's developing as the season goes along. I mean, it's hard to step in on opening day and be ready to be a weekend starter in the SEC, but as the year has gone along, it looks like he's pitching with more and more confidence. What are you seeing from him in terms of development?
No, he's been terrific, and really the shame or maybe the disappointment that we may feel 2 months from now when the season's over is if we would have played better in the middle, how much better a year he would have had. In the sense that we've put a ton of pressure on him and we haven't played well through it, and so some of it's not even been his fault, is we haven't made plays or we haven't scored runs, and when you look at his individual numbers, not necessarily his record, but his ERA, his opposing batting average, they're as good as just about any freshman in the league. And, a lot of guys that, I think are, people are, kind of putting freshman All-American type candidate, accolades next to him. And, Hunter's pitched as well as any of them, and he really has. And especially the last 2 weekends, at Arkansas, he matched up with another good, freshman in Hagen Smith, pitched really good and, deserved to win that baseball game. And then, of course, a 7-inning stint, which got him, SEC Freshman of the Week this past weekend.
Pretty well documented with Derek Diamond that maybe the second time through the order has not been as kind to him as the first time through the order. Was he able to be a little more free yesterday and maybe pitch with a little more confidence because he had the big lead and then ultimately gets you 5 innings and gets through that second, maybe even into the third time through the order?
Yeah, the knock against him is, it's hard to lie about the statistics. I think it's true, but I think sometimes, it can be, overput a little bit sometimes. But the last, maybe 3 starts, he's done well. He's got to 100 pitches. He's pitched, deep into the game, especially for a guy pitching on day 2 or day 3 of the weekend. So his pitch count was way down because he threw a ton of strikes. He got some quick outs. But again, another outing where, he gets, to the 5th. That might be his 3rd weekend in a row where he's gotten to the 5th.
So because of what you did this past weekend, the stakes get higher. I mean, we talked about one game at a time. Southern Miss on Wednesday night, and then on to Baton Rouge.
And this is where you change that conversation, right? Now this is where you okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but let's start with Wednesday night and the importance. And I know maybe you don't dive as much into the RPI and whatnot, but that factors into who gets into the postseason. It's a huge opportunity in that Southern Miss is a team with an RPI in the teens, and it's on the road.
Yeah, and so when first you look at hey, it's one of your arch rival, in-state rivals, somebody that's projected to host a regional, and just having a tremendous year, and so what a great opportunity. But again, sitting where we're sitting, all the wins are important, but now you're only down to 8 games left, right? And so you don't have a lot of time to make up, and this is a great opportunity against a really good team with a really good record. So it's not necessarily their RPI, because that's not factored into it. It's their winning percentage and their opponent's winning percentage. So but they got a great winning percentage, and obviously they have a good opponent's winning percentage because of their RPI. So just a great opportunity for us if we can go down there and play well.
And I will ask you, so here's the other part. So looking ahead to LSU, and I want to ask you because I think you've been scouting them already. I just know you watch a bunch of LSU because you've got a son that plays on them. So as you've watched this LSU team, what's their biggest strength this year in terms of the challenge that you've got to deal with this weekend?
I think it's a 2-part answer. I mean, I think they're built a lot like us. They're offensively, they're having a tremendous year. I think they're second in the conference in conference games and runs scored. We're third. So when you think about LSU, you think about the offense. The reason that they've had so much success, though, is because they pitched it so well, and especially from the bullpen standpoint. They've kind of been like us and trying to figure out the starters, but they've really pitched it well and kept other teams from scoring on them. And so what's really led to their success has been their bullpen, especially pitching. And but what we're going to have to defend is we're going to have to make sure that we keep the ball in the ball yard, and we keep them from scoring runs, because they do that really well.
Mike, always